And this weekend, the Titans welcome in their traditional season opening opponent, the Stanford Cardinal, who now represent a new conference in the new era of college baseball. After subpar campaigns in 2024, both teams are trying to revive in 25. The Titans and Stanford Cardinal take their first steps next on ESPN+. Goodwin Field in Fullerton. It is opening day. It has a big league feel because it is a daytime season opener. There's also lots of MLB scouts in the stands. It's a day to show up and show out. With Robbie Loya, I'm Mike Martinez. We're looking at the Big West preseason polls brought to you by NutriShot Brea. You see the Titans, after a tough year last year, now they got to start the climb back up. Our pitching matchup here, a couple of veterans, right-hander Jason Blood, third year with the Titans, against veteran Stanford right-hander from Connecticut, Matt Scott, and he's a hard thrower. As mentioned with Robbie Loya, I'm Mike Martinez. Welcome to Goodwin Field, welcome to Fullerton. It is about 70 degrees right now, 70 degrees, sunshine, beautiful day, a beautiful winter day after a long week of rain. The field has now had 2 days to dry out. Should be very good conditions for baseball. We're going to look at the lineup here for the Stanford Cardinal. A tough year for them last year as well. They were 8th in the Pac-12, the final season of the Pac-12. McDonald, Haskins, the potential international sensation, Rintaro Sasaki, his roommate, the catcher, Charlie Som, Jimmy Nadai, Reynolds, Becerra. A problem for the Titans in past years, Bates and Marsh. Court McDonald, a junior from Arlington, Texas, starts it off. There's obviously lots of action down there in the Lone Star State this opening weekend of college baseball. And now we get underway here in Fullerton. 5 minutes after 2 o'clock, McDonald hunting the first pitch, and he fouls it away.
I love it. Attack early. We've been hungry for baseball, right? Baseball is finally back here in Fullerton, California. I want both of these teams to play hungry, compete, right? It's earlier in the season. There's still a lot of positions that are looking to be filled. So for both sides, what player is going to step up for either roster?
McDonald still trying to line one up. Fouls the second pitch away. 0-2. Robbie, it's a doubleheader day. The players are obviously juiced from not playing yesterday. They saw all their buddies across college baseball play. Every team in the Big West played, and now the Titans are actually the last team in the Big West to play. You feel extra juiced, but obviously you got to pace yourself a little bit. I'm guessing because it is a doubleheader day for certain players. They're going to play both halves.
Exactly, and this is where the mental aspect really plays a big part. Doubleheader today, you're going to see some guys move around. I mean, the big thing for Cal State Fullerton, Eli Lopez playing in center field, right? So, again, it's who's going to step up for either side. And, again, the mental aspect is, you know what, you may be tired, you're going to have long days, but guess what? So is the other team. So, again, you're in the same playing field. Now it comes down to step up big. You mentioned earlier a lot of scouts, big crowd for day one here at Goodwin Field. So again, this is the perfect time to step up and make your case why you should be in the starting 9.
Jason Blood eventually loses Court McDonald, who saw a lot of soft tossing on the outside once the count got to 2 strikes with a fastball. McDonald works out a walk, and Stanford has the lead man on in the first inning.
You know, nerves is going to play a big part, right? I mean, we saw Blood last year, made 23 appearances one start during the 2024 campaign, had a 2-3 record, the 4.76 ERA in 51 innings pitched. So new when it comes to the starting slot. But again, we saw what he was able to do right at Golden West College. So really when it comes to Blood, you're just trying to settle in a little bit. The nerves are going to play a little bit of factor, and that's normal, right? So you know what? Yes, you walked the first guy, but now, right, short-term memory, pose and composure. So at the end of the day, you just continue to compete every single pitch.
Jason Blood adding another pitch. He's hoping to open up the breaking ball here to the right-hand hitters. He went basically all change-ups to McDonald as a secondary pitch. So now with the right-hander up there, see if he can get into more of the breaking ball. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Jason Blood, one of the few holdovers from the Titans' last postseason team of 2023. Things change fast in this era of college baseball. That one moving fast up the alley in left center as Haskins going to try to stretch it into a double. Strong throw back to second, and Haskins is out. Big time defensive play right out of the gate for the Titans. There's a runner at third for Stanford now with 1 out, and Rentaro Sasaki coming up.
Hackage was a good hit to left center field. He hesitated a little bit, rounding first, heading to second. Good cutoff there from the outfield to make the play, and a good tag already from the middle end to get the first out with the runner on third here in the top of the first.
And that was Eli Lopez, the Titans' new center fielder, traditionally an infielder, still listed as strictly an infielder on the roster, but because of injury recently, Eli Lopez, the guy Jason Dietrich and company, chose to put in center because he has athleticism, and now we see he has a strong arm. And he does play both sides of the diamond on the infield, so you know he has a strong arm. Sasaki taking ball 1 and ball 2, now a strike, and it's 1-1. He's 6 feet, 275 pounds. He moved to the States last year to join the Stanford team in the spring, but didn't play last year in the spring of 24. But he got acclimated. He is very quickly learning English. He really doesn't rely on an interpreter at all. Strike 2 as Blood keeps working outside.
Definitely a player that models his game right over Barry Bonds. Also, people compare him rather to Prince Fielder, so a lot of power from that left side of the batter's box.
I didn't have really an idea of what his body type would be. You know, you get him in all shapes and sizes. You think of the great Japanese players through the years, the spindly type in Ichiro Suzuki. You think of the compact, strong athlete in Hideki Matsui, Godzilla, and then the otherworldly athleticism of Shohei Ohtani. Sasaki, more of a Ruthian type, where you mentioned Prince Fielder. He wears number 3. He bats third. And so Ruthian, we'll see if he can deliver that kind of power. The count now, 3 balls and 2 strikes. People who saw batting practice said he did reach the Arboretum a couple of times, but he used the field more rather than just going for the fences. There's some loud contact right to second to Marcos Rosales. A run scores. Sasaki's first at-bat is applause-worthy in that he delivers an RBI and Stanford is in the lead here in the first inning, 1-0.
And that's just classic baseball, right? And the reason why I say that, Sasaki does a great job. This is your job as a hitter. You're trying to hit anything on the right side of the field. You got a runner on third, McDonald. He has some speed. That's just textbook baseball right there. Cal State Fullerton, Rosales, routine ground ball, 4-3 out. You'll like to see that from both sides of the field. So early on, if you're Jason Blood, continue to attack the strike zone.
Slider for strike swinging here to Charlie Somm. Somm, the cleanup hitter, he's also their catcher, and a Stanford veteran, now a senior. 1-0 Stanford in the first. Somm, one of the Southern California players. You'll see a few of them for Stanford this weekend. The Titans also have a lot of Bay Area products. A lot of crisscross back and forth. Somm, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Somm is from Thousand Oaks. Been at Stanford since 2022. Was on a couple of Omaha teams. Strikes one to center field, and a real challenge for Lopez. It is over his head and bounces high up off the wall. Som will slide into second base on a 2-strike pitch. A deep drive by the Stanford catcher, and they have a chance to catch one in here with 2 out. And good thing for the Lopez play with Haskins at the plate, although Haskins potentially could have been doubled up on the Sasaki ground ball, but we wouldn't know had he only stayed at first. Now Som with a double, his first strike of the new season, and a 2 out RBI chance here for Jimmy Nadai. Nadai is from Sydney, Australia. So Stanford, being the international type school that they are, attracting not just students in their general student body from all over the world, but we see in other sports and now in baseball, Sasaki from Japan and Nadai from Sydney. 2 balls and no strikes.
And to your point, Mike, I mean, Nadai was the X factor for the Stanford roster a season ago. Played and started in all 54 games, had a batting average of .308, including 8 home runs, 45 runs batted in. So he's a key guy, especially in this situation with the runner in scoring position.
Good jump by Lopez, but this ball tails all the way out to the wall again. Here comes Charlie Som, and Stanford leads it 2-0 as Jimmy Nadai, right on cue from Robbie's setup, goes to deep center and has Stanford's 3rd hit and 2nd double of the inning, 2-0 Cardinal.
This is tough. I mean, right? Stanford, they're hungry. They're ready to play. They were supposed to play on Friday. Likewise for Cal State Fullerton. They're hungry. They're willing. They're really looking to compete. And they're doing a great job attacking early. They know what Jason Blood is made up of, right? Kind of has some nasty stuff. But again, right now, you kind of see him being a little bit behind of the count, right? So what does that happen? The obvious. The fastball is going to come. They're waiting on that pitch. They're attacking on that opportunity. Lopez is doing all that he can in center. I mean, right now, we got 4-mile-per-hour wind, 6-mile-per-hour gusts. So you see that ball traveling a little bit towards the right-hand side. Nothing Lopez can do, but you kind of see in center now that he's kind of playing a little more back, kind of playing with the wind, just trying to get that perfect angle to get the catch over there in the outfield.
Brady Reynolds, the Stanford right fielder, is up. And Stanford sending their 6th batter to the plate. Becerra, Bates, and Marsh in the 7, 8, 9 spots. 0-2. Jason Blood, who's been a do-everything type pitcher in 2 seasons for the Titans, now trying to establish some momentum as the opening day starter, but he's only started 4 games in his Titan career. 40 appearances with 4 starts. So it's a different role. But Jason Dietrich, of all the guys, Blood was the one he chose to do it. But Stanford has him here in the 1st inning as Reynolds goes down the line an opposite way, a little soft liner. Another double, 3 consecutive for Stanford. And now they have 3 in the 1st inning, 3-zip, bringing out Dietrich for the first time.
Again, right, it's what I mentioned earlier. They're waiting for that fastball. Reynolds does a good job, right? You already know that Chardon left is playing the flare, so you already know they're going to throw an outside pitch to Reynolds, left-handed hitter, right? So he does a good job kind of staying back, takes that baseball down the left field line all the way into a corner. Again, just textbook baseball right now for the Stanford Cardinal. And if you're Jason Dietrich, and likewise for Jason Blood, relax a little bit. Again, nerves will play a factor, and, you know, Dietrich knows that, right? It's game 1, you got a big crowd, media is here, everyone knows why with Taro Sasaki. So now it comes down, slow down the game a little bit, right? What do we need to do differently to make sure we're attacking the strike zone? Again, you know, it's only the 1st inning. We still got 9 more to go, right? 3-0's not going to hurt Jason Blood and Cal State Fullerton. So again, just stay within your game a little bit. Take a deep breath, throw strikes, prove to not only your teammates, not only to the coaching staff, but Cal State Fullerton fans why everyone should believe that Jason Blood should be that #1 starter in the Friday slot.
All right, Mike Martinez and Robbie Loya here from Goodwin Field. Matt Scott warms up to face the Titans. Fullerton bringing in this lineup: Eli Lopez in center, Maddox Lotta at short, Marcos Rosales at second, Jacob Sharp in the cleanup spot in left field, Max Ortega, a DH, Andrew Kirchner at first base, Matthew Bardowell in right field, Carter Johnstone at third base, and Wally Perez, the catcher. Matt Scott, 6'7" right-hand pitcher, 245 pounds from Reading, Connecticut. His first college appearance was here at Goodwin Field 2 years ago in a series against Fullerton. That year, Stanford went to Omaha. He ended up pitching starting back-to-back days in the regionals that year. Started back-to-back days in the regionals in elimination games against Fullerton and Texas A&M. He pitched only a couple innings. Each of those starts did help them escape the losers bracket and advance to the Supers that year, eventually going on to Omaha. Last year, he was their opening day starter also against Fullerton, so the Titans have seen him. And the big right-hander, 6'7", goes after Eli Lopez. A fastball clocks in at 93. First time that he was here, I saw a prospect video still on YouTube. Matt Scott was likewise 92-93, sitting 92-93, with a little bit of a cutter, changeup, and a slider. Didn't see much of a full breaking ball or curveball. 1 ball, 1 strike to Lopez. Robbie, what's the first thing you think about? I'm sure you faced tall pitchers playing in high school. 6'7" guy, what do you have to do? I guess you have to be a little bit ready, a little bit earlier.
You know, when you're as tall, right, as Scott, it's a little bit intimidating first, right? Because, you talk about that arm length. People don't realize when you have a lot of arm length, it gives you time to hide the baseball a little bit more. So you don't really know what pitch is throwing out of that right hand. So that kind of plays a factor too. But again, if you're Lopez, you see what he's doing in the box. He's kind of crowding the plate a little bit. Lopez is a guy that likes to be patient in the plate, and rightfully so. When you're the leadoff guy, you're trying to waste some pitches out of the starter. It allows Maddox Lotta, your 2, 3, 4 guys, to kind of see what pitches that he's throwing out of the gate. As Lopez, I like the aggressiveness early. And you bring up a good point, right? Experience. You can't teach experience. Simple as that, right? So this is still a youthful Cal State Fullerton team, but we see a lot of returners, such as Lopez, such as Lotta. Rosales is someone that's kind of been working his way up, right? So you bring a good point. You can't teach experience, and that's what Jason Dietrich, that's been, what he's been saying all week. I want guys willing to be consistent and guys that are willing to compete. If you want a job in my starting 9, I got to see consistency, and I want to see guys that are willing to compete. I want to see the energy, regardless of the score. I want to see what these guys bring to the table. I want to see a lot more heart this year compared to what we saw last year. I mean, of course, last year, after going to the regionals back in 2023, a lot of high hopes for a Cal State Fullerton team last year. Had the worst home record since they changed the name to Goodwin Field back in 1992 with an 11-18 home record. So again, with those things come to a factor, really for Dietrich and this coaching staff, it comes into fruition. What do we need to do to compete, to get ready for not just the Big West anymore, but you also got the Big West tournaments now, the championships rather.
There's a little bit of pressure on Fullerton because the Big West will take the top 5 teams at the end of the regular season, and the first reintroduction of the Big West tournament / Big West championships is that it will be here at Fullerton. The Titans don't want to miss out on a party that they're hosting. Marcos Rosales, somebody the Titans are excited to have back because he was one of a number of guys who was hurt at mid-year last year, and he was surging when he got hurt. A couple guys got plunked, hit by pitches, and other guys had collisions at first base. It was a tough year there in the middle as the Titans started to get a little bit of offense going, but then those injuries set him back a little bit, and ended up being an 8-8 start for Fullerton last year and an 8-30 finish. Fewest wins for Fullerton in their Division I history. So they're trying to shake off that, as Stanford trying to shake off a rare losing season. David Esker's first losing season in a full year at Stanford, not counting the COVID year, where they were 5-11 or in that neighborhood. Matt Scott trying to finish off the first inning on Marcos Rosales. It's a 3-2 count. And there it is. On the inside, strikeout number 2 for Matt Scott. The big righty from Connecticut holds that 3-0 Stanford advantage in the first. Jason Blood trying to have a bounce-back second inning. Titan women's basketball going on in Titan Gym against Bakersfield. Mid-second quarter action there. I think we talked about pressure on Titan baseball hosting the Big West Championships this year, as it's Charlie Bates leading off for Stanford, the 8-man in the order, so 7 batted in the first, 3 runs, 4 hits, 3 doubles for Stanford. Pressure on Fullerton baseball to make that event that they're hosting at the end of the year, as Bates with the ball in the air to left center. There goes Eli Lopez. Can't quite run it down. He had a great jump, really motored to it, but it just eluded his glove, and Bates is trying for a triple. Here is the throw by Lotta into third, not in time.
That one was a little tough, right? Lopez, right? You mentioned it. Good job. Got off to his feet. Does the fundamentals of an outfielder, right? First step back. Does so. Goes to his right-hand side. Probably didn't get the cleanest of routes. And you kind of saw him, too, kind of reach out a little bit. Probably needed a little more range, trying to curve a little bit outside towards that baseball. But a clean triple for Bates. Over 30 pitches already for Blood. 33 to be precise. So already in the backside of the lineup for the Stanford Cardinal, they seed Blood enough. Again, over 30 pitches already in the first inning. So again, if you're Blood, settle down, attack the strike zone so you can get some clean outs and at least go 5 innings here for this doubleheader matchup.
9th man in the order is Tatum Marsh, a 6'1 freshman from Valley Christian in San Jose. So a newcomer for Stanford, but they have had basically all returners in the lineup, save for Sasaki in the 3-hole, and now Marsh down at the bottom. 2 balls and a strike from Jason Blood. So it's tough going. Now we have 3 doubles and a triple by the Stanford Cardinal in the first inning plus. Went secondary pitch to try to nab the corner, but it goes to 3-1.
You kind of see Perez saying, slow down, you're good. I do like Blood, though, what he's doing, right? He's having a quick tempo. He's not being lackadaisical, rather. He's being quick, throwing strikes right down Broadway there. So this is what I like to see from Blood. Yeah, he's getting behind into the count. Yeah, they're getting a good look at him right now if you're Stanford. But again, you like the quick tempo from Blood. You kind of see that he's going out there and he's trying to compete, rather, on the mound.
Full count pitch to Tatum Marsh, just outside. Runners at the corners for Stanford here in the second. 3-0. Cardinal on top. Top of the order. Court McDonald at the plate. McDonald, the junior from Arlington, he was their top hitter last year. 325 average. 3 home runs, 29 RBIs. Finished second on the team in hits. He has an RBI chance here. Nobody out in the second.
I love it. It's fun, and you're gonna know more than everyone, right? When I'm always in the broadcast booth with you, after everyone's tailgating, they come, they say hi. So I always gotta, wherever I go, when it comes to Titan baseball, I gotta make sure I'm with you to say hi to everyone, and you love it, right? I mean, everyone knows the tradition of Cal State Fullerton baseball and what that brings. I mean, everyone knows. You think of Cal State Fullerton, where are they gonna think of, right? Baseball is one of many things that. Is well represented here at the University of Cal State Fullerton. So having that tradition back of just seeing fans, at Goodwin Field, tailgating, it's just a good feeling to have, just knowing that baseball is finally back here in Fullerton, California.
I love the idea of tailgating, but me and my punctuality doesn't necessarily go along with setting me up for tailgating. There's McDonald bouncing one with a runner going. McDonald drives in Bates. Off to third goes Marsh. Runners again at the corner for Stanford. And 3 batters into the second. Jason Blood still looking for that first out.
What a call from the coaching staff. It was a hit and run. Marsh was a runner at first. Decides to steal on a 3-1 pitch. McDonald liked the look. It was an inside pitch. He already saw Rosales trying to cover second base, left a big gap on the right side of the infield. Great look from McDonald to poke that one all the way to right field to grab another RBI.
Titans around the diamond with Waldy Perez catching, Andrew Kirchner at first base holding on the runner. Marcos Rosales, who we didn't see in the field at all last year, as I recall, and if he played, it might have been the first weekend at Stanford. Once when he got to Goodwin Field here, that shoulder was bothering him. He played a few more weeks until he was down for the season. Maddox Lotta at short, Carter Johnson at third base, and Jacob Shard in left field, Eli Lopez in center, Matthew Bardowell in right field. Strike swinging on the first pitch to Trevor Haskins, a senior from San Jose. Like the man at third base, Tatum Marsh, also Valley Christian product. Separated by a couple of years. And a good job by Waldy on the breaking ball. Keeps the runner at third. Haskins was a 278 hitter last year. He did stroke a lot of doubles with 15, and also was one of their better home run hitters with 6. Stanford still hit 55 home runs last year. Hitting was really not their problem. They're a pretty solid team, 283 hitting team, 55 homers. But their ERA was up 6.5 or something like that for the year. If they bring that down, they should be competitive in the U-Look ACC. Blood hits Haskins on the wrist area. Haskins aboard for the second time, and there's major trouble. Now we've finally seen the first bullpen action for the Titans, a right-hander down there. Looks like Derek Turner down there in the Titan bullpen getting ready as the bases are now loaded for Stanford. Blood brings that hook back inside, gets a strike on Rentaro Sasaki. All eyes on Sasaki. There's something I learned working down the freeway for the Angels when Shohei was there. Not as much talking during Shohei at bats. There's a liner into right field in front of Bardowell. He slides and makes the stop. Stanford base runner station to station. Marsh in. Sasaki, another RBI, this time with a base hit, his first D1 baseball single. And Stanford leads at 5-0 here in the second.
Again, fastball right down the heart of the plate, takes it pull side. Bardowell, right, it was a little nerve-wracking. He wasn't sure. It was the last-minute decision. Did he want to dive for that baseball or not, as Jason Blood calls for time, wants a new baseball. But good job, though, from Bardowell. You know, right, he kind of knows. It was a little bit early on his part, but still squares up right in front of the baseball, blocks it with his chest, keep it in front of him, so the damage is only done. Just only one run batted in, rather, for Sasaki. So bases loaded now here at the top of the second. And if you're Blood, I mean, you're doing what you can, right? You're not trying to walk too many guys. You're letting, Stanford just put the ball in play. Unfortunately, nothing really the defense can do and cover that baseball, at least right at the moment.
I'm sure Bardowell, just judging from behind the plate with Sasaki's exit velocity, that it's significant. And that Bardowell stepped to and thought, oh, that's a liner. That's going to get out. And he had a little topspin, ended up going in front of him. Probably see that a lot for Stanford opponents, how to judge something like that, hitting the ball that hard. Charlie Som is hit by the next pitch. 2 hit batters of the last 3, and that contributes to Stanford scoring their 3rd run of the inning and now leading 6-0.
Yeah, it's certainly been a tough one for Blood. You see him take a deep breath as Jason Dietrich's going to come out, and we're going to get a new Cal State Fullerton pitcher. But if you're Jason Blood, this is one appearance out of many. I guarantee you he's going to be back into a starting role. If you're Blood, you can't let this one get to you. I know it's rough. This is day 1, so a lot of changes to be made, a lot of adjustments still to be made. You'd rather have it happen now, right? This is why you have a tough schedule. You go now, you have non-conference games to prepare you for the Big West play. That's going to matter for the most part there.
Blood not able to get an out in the second. We'll take a timeout. Well, hold on. We're going to hold it here because Turner is not out of the bullpen gate just yet. Now the motion is made by Dietz to make the call, and we'll take a timeout, step aside here. Stanford with another 3 spot and a big lead early, 6-0 in the second. The Titans have Derek Turner on to try to stop the bleeding. Turner, a Newberry Park High School graduate, comes in relieving Jason Blood in the top of the second inning. Blood faced 6 batters this inning and couldn't get an out, as there was a triple, a walk, a single, a hit batter, a single, and another hit batter. It's a long weekend, 36 innings of baseball here. Yeah, not necessarily what you want to do and dip it in the bullpen, but Deese really couldn't wait any longer. Derek Turner, a returner from the 2024 team. He made 19 appearances, started 8 times, had 1 win and 4 decisions. His ERA was 6.44, so basically 6.5. 36 innings he ate up last season, and he had 42 strikeouts, so a little bit of a strikeout pitcher. Opponents did bat over 300 against him. So he tries to return for a sophomore season and try to get something done. As Dietz said, he needs guys to really take the reins and take hold of some of these appearances and their roles as they move forward.
And you bring up a great point. I mean, this pitching staff is completely different. Why? I mean, Cal State Fullerton, you lose 3 pitchers a season ago to the MLB draft, right? Christian Rodriguez, Andrew Ramones, likewise for Evan Yates. And, Yates was your guy. Morones was in there, likewise for Rodriguez. So, again, I know he said it earlier, but this is really the summary of the game: is who's going to be consistent, who is going to compete. That's what Jason is looking for, right? And right now, I mean, also too, you got to remember that Cal State Fullerton, they also got to replace their closer, Seth Tomczak. So again, it's just the question mark for this Cal State Fullerton team is, you know, the relief pitching. Who's going to step up? And you know, Dietrich said that Turner can easily be a starter in this rotation. Now, with him now in the game now, obviously he's going to eat out as many outs, so we know that Negretti is going later today, but now the question will be what's going to happen tomorrow and Monday, at least for the starting rotation. So again, if you're Turner, what I want to see, be hungry. Let's get some strikeouts. Let's get this, you know, the Goodwin Field fans fired up, getting something to cheer for. That's what you're looking right now out of the tall righty.
First ball is knocked right back through the middle, a base hit into center by Jimmy Nadai, who delivers his second hit. He's halfway to the cycle. Another run for Stanford, 7-0.
Again, right, this is what this team is known for. I mean, right, you've seen it from Blood, Turner, they're attacking the strike zone early. But again, Stanford, they're just waiting on that fastball, and that's the mentality you like to see, because their mentality, if I see a fastball, I'm just going to swing and hit it, right? And that's what you like to see. They're being aggressive, they're attacking the strike zone, and it shows, right? All the hits they're getting in the outfield, they're not soft hits here today, partner.
That's right. They're scoring up a lot of balls. These are not a lot of bleeders that we're seeing as Brady Reynolds is at the plate. The sophomore had a double last time up. He's from Bakersfield, from Liberty High School. Turner misses outside. It's 1-1 strike. One thing that pitchers in modern times have to really be conscious of is when it does go poorly, they have to manage the pitch clock. They can't let it speed them up too much, because it's designed to speed you up and speed the game up, but you can't let it speed you up so much that it affects how you're pitching.
Yeah, and it comes down to, right, controlling the game. You control what you can control, and that goes what I said earlier, right, with Blood, kind of quick tempo. And it wasn't more so because of the pitch clock. It was more if he was trying to get quick. I mean, this is the obvious, right? Your outfielders, your infielders, they've been outside for a long time. They're going to get tired. The sun is going to drain you a little bit compared to being in the dugout, right? Being in the shade, kind of relaxing a little bit. Get your head right. What do I need to do on my at-bat to get momentum going? So all that plays a huge factor. And again, I know this is the obvious, but the way we've had lengthy innings 1 and 2, simply put it, find a way to get quick outs, get your team a break.
Trying to miss some of these bats, trying to miss the barrels. Stanford with 3 consecutive doubles in the first. Here in the second, they have 2 singles and a triple. Make that 3 singles and a triple. So 4 hits, 4 runs. The base is still loaded, and there still isn't anybody out. That missed the batter, Brady Reynolds, but it bounces right back to Waldy Perez, and a quality base running move over there at third base by Sasaki.
You could tell, partner, he wanted to go, and I like it, right? Be aggressive. Everyone knows Sasaki and right, but you know, he's that student athlete. He wants to be more than just power, right? He wants to be an overall type of guy. He wants to be a true 5-tool student athlete, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see that at all, basically, from the first baseman.
Up the ladder with some high cheddar as Brady Reynolds strikes out. First out of the inning now.
Perfect. That's what you want. Get a strikeout. Find a way to continue to get your fans in this ball game. You're down 7-0 here in the top of the second inning. If you're Turner, again, it's just a desperation maybe early on to just find a way to get these fans riled up.
One out, bases loaded for Timo Becerra. Struck out against Blood in the first inning. Strike 1 on Becerra, a senior from Clovis. who, like his coach, shares a lot of similarities in their background, coming from parents of Mexican heritage. Timo's first full name is Guatemoc. There's a bouncer, but it's foul. First base coach over there is Andre Mercurio in his 4th year for Stanford. Steve Rodriguez, who's been here a lot as a former Pepperdine coach. A lot of years on the West Coast, went to Baylor, now back on the West Coast with Stanford in his 6th year under David Esker, who's in his 8th year helming the Cardinal. 0-2 on number 2, Timo Becerra.
You know what I really like from the Stanford team, a team that was hitting 283 as a team a season ago in the Pac-12, and almost 90% of their starting 9 is back this season. So nothing new for this squad.
There's a blooper into shallow center, a base hit for Becerra. Sasaki in from 3rd, and only 90 feet for all the base runners, but another for the Cardinal. 5 in the inning, 8-0 lead. Here with Charlie Bates coming up. And it's different for Stanford than from the previous year. From 23 to 24, they had something like 9 guys drafted. So that hurt their team last year. They kind of regrouped. They went through their bumps. If they pitch better this year, they should be a solid team in the ACC. Nadai is now at second base. Sam is at 3rd. Sasaki just scored. Bates had a triple leading off this inning against Jason Blood.
And you know, both of these teams they've known each other, right? I mean, this is the 4th straight season, right, that we have opening, both of these two teams, they started off, opening the season, playing each other for the 4th straight time this season, 12th time since the year of 2000, so 13 overall. So again, they're very familiar with each other, right? So again, I mean, next year we'll have Stanford again, but this time it'll probably be Cal State Fullerton at Stanford. But again, with the moves with them, of course, being now in the ACC, we'll see if we're going to have, that tradition a little bit of Cal State Fullerton and Stanford playing in the opening series. And this is just due to, traveling, right? Is it going to tire out your guys? There's a lot of aspects, really, in the season.
Soft liner by Bates to Maddox Lotta. Tried to get a double up there on Jimmy Nadai at second. But Nadai back diving into the bag in time. 2 out in the inning now as Bates is retired. Now you get a little bit weaker contact for Stanford against Turner than they had, except for Nadai, who was the first batter. But then Reynolds a strikeout, Becerra a little bloop shot, and Bates didn't get all of that one, a liner to short.
Yeah, and Jason Diedrich is kind of thinking a little bit what he needs to do to change things up. I mean, anyone that knows Jason knows he's a pitching guy, and I think that adds a lot of value to this Cal State Fullerton team, a team that had an ERA of 5.16 a season ago. So some things to work out. Last year was tough, right? A lot of injuries to be played. They lost some starters. They had to really kind of change things around. But you get most of your arms back. You kind of come into this season with a lot more guys that bring in a lot more experience compared to a season ago.
1 ball and 1 strike to Tatum Marsh, who has walked and scored here in the 2nd. Jason Blood still responsible for Charlie Som at 3rd base. Blood made 50 pitches. Swing and a miss, strike 2 on Marsh. It's going to be a tough weekend for the Titans to eat up all these innings against Stanford on the pitching side. 4 games, 36 innings. With another week, next week the Titans go to Fresno State. Probably not trying to bring back Jason Blood unless the bullpen really needs that at the end of Monday, I'm guessing. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Tatum Marsh. Waldy Perez, the Titan catcher. Two and two with the bases loaded, and there is strike 3 looking on Marsh. A fastball he just didn't pull the trigger. Stanford scores 5, leaves the bases loaded, and then they have a commanding 8-0 lead on the Titans in the second. Darren Turner came on in the second to help the Titans, to help get the Stanford Cardinals out. He made 20 pitches and struck out 2 of 5 batters. Matt Scott, who has had to sit now a long time in both the top of the first and top of the second, but that's a luxury. Those are, what do they call them? Like first world problems for pitchers?
I'll tell you so.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Pitchers will take that any day of the week. Champagne problems, I think.
Yes.
There it is.
It's a good problem to have, but it's a long time. I wish I timed it. So what is it now? It's 2:53. So almost an hour gone, and we're not through 2 complete innings. This is the time to shine if you're Jacob Sharp, right? Left-handed hitter. You kind of already see Haskins going to play more in down the third base line. Again, I said it once, I said it again. What are you going to do to get this fan base riled up? And, again, you're not trying to do too much. You're down by 8 runs here in the bottom of the second inning. Get on base. Get base runners on. That's how you're going to win ball games at the end of the day.
Matt Scott was a very efficient 12 pitches in the first inning. 7 for strikes. Struck out 2. Strikeout to Lopez. High pop-up first pitch to Lada. And a strikeout over Rosales. Jacob Sharp in the cleanup spot. The Titans hope that he has a continuation of his 2024 season. Sharp at the bottom of the numerical roster, number 57. That's the number that always plays well here at Cal State Fullerton with the 57 freeway. Just out into the distance beyond the Arboretum. 3-1 to Sharp, junior from Camarillo High School up in Ventura County. Last year, Sharp, 307 hitter. And he takes a 5-pitch walk to open up the second.
That's just textbook hitting again, right? It's been a little bent since Cal State Fullerton can grab their hands right on a baseball bat. So it's going to take time for Scott to get back into the rhythm that he had in the first inning. So again, if you're like Sharp, likewise for Max Ortega, relax a little bit, take some pitches, only swing at the one you want.
Out in front there, and strike 1. Now Scott, I saw kind of on that video that he had a real good ability to keep the fastball down, and then his changeup was kind of like a show me pitch to the eyes, when not really. You might think it's a fastball, but if you're really kind of tracking your pitches, okay, the fastball is low, the changeup might look fastball, but it's there to show and look good to your eyes. But that fastball is usually on the downside. Got to look out for guys like that. As you know, Robbie, baseball is the thinking man's sport, not like broadcasting.
A little bit, like chess a little bit. I love it, and that's why I love baseball. To be with you and then the history, right, of tying baseball, you can't beat it.
If a dummy like me could pick up a little trend like that, these guys who play baseball all their life should be able to handle a lot of that.
Nah, it's a mental game. The way I put it is baseball is a game of failure, right? I mean, you could bring up guys like Matt Chapman, Titan great, right? He was there at the alumni game. He's not always going to be 4 for 4, right? I mean, you see him, he strikes out a few times now with the Giants, and these are kids at the end of the day, right? They got to know better. Yes, I'm going to make mistakes. Are you going to be perfect all the time? No, I guarantee you wish that like so many fans and so many coaches. But at the end of the day, just stick to your abilities and short-term memory. That's going to be the key in this situation with Cal State Fullerton being down by 8.
And a strikeout of Max Ortega. 3rd strikeout in 5 batters for the big righty, Matt Scott. Now, you're a Corona guy, and about 15 years ago, Corona Centennial, their quarterback was Matt Scott. He went to play at the University of Arizona, spent a couple years playing professionally. So when I think of Matt Scott, I think of football first. But Matt Scott, quality right-hander who's going to have prospects. I'm sure a lot of these scouts down here in front of us are really here to see him as much as anybody perhaps that's going to be on the field here in game one.
It's funny how you say that, and for me, what I think of Corona kids, so I was lucky enough I got to play baseball at Santiago High School. Head coach Ty de Trinidad, who's been an absolute inspiration to me, and I've learned so much from the sport, about the sport, because of him. And I think of Corona High School. Why? Tristan Beck, who of course played for Stanford, and what he's been able to do also, of course, with the Giants. So that's what I kind of think of too. So, and it goes both ways. And, I was very fortunate enough, I got to talk to, Dietrich about it, that me getting to work in minor league baseball, I got to see some of our Titans, such as Nate Nankill when he was on the Stockton Ports, and seeing what he got to do in Lake Elsinore. So, what Jason Dietrich's kind of trying to do with this Titan program is, just trying to develop these guys to just do all that they can to move up in the world.
Andrew Kirchner with a soft one past the mound. Stanford with their third baseman Haskins playing it over to Nadai at the bag for a force out. As Shart now off the board. 2 out. Andrew Kirchner, the base runner at first for Matthew Bardowell. The Titans are hoping for an improving year here for Matthew Bardowell, who is a former California Community College Player of the Year out at RCC. But his batting average ended up being 182 last year. He had 2 home runs and did play most of the year and had over 30 starts. So the Titans are hoping that he can kind of assess things at the plate and get to a position where he's not trying to do too much.
Yeah, and that just comes all within time. Again, it's competing every single pitch. And again, consistency is going to be key. And, Bardowell's definitely that guy to do so as he kind of reaches out for that one. Stays back, kind of stays beneath himself. He's a power-hungry guy. If that he barrels that baseball, the seams are going to go flying off the baseball. And I wouldn't be surprised as it goes 400-plus feet all the way over that new baseball locker room to left field.
Was out in front of a changeup. Got on the fastball, but that was a pretty hard pitch from Matt Scott. It was 95 either coming in or going out. It went to second base, and that I took care of it. The Titans are stopped in the second. 8-0. Stanford Cardinal now after 2. All right, 8-0 Stanford. And Robbie's going to take play-by-play here in the third and fourth innings as Andrew Turner. I'm going to call him Andrew Returner because he was a returner here to the Titan baseball team in 2024.
I like it. I'll take it. I'll take that. Top of the third inning we go. 8-0 Stanford Cardinal. 8 runs on 9 hits, no errors. Still nothing going for Cal State Fullerton here in the top of the third inning. So far for Jason Blood, of course, his day comes to an end and only going 1 full inning of work. 7 hits, giving up 8 runs, all of which were earned, including 2 walks and 1 strikeout. Derek Turner back for another inning of work. Only 20 pitches. Already 2 strikeouts, 2 hits. First pitch towards Court McDonald will be outside, ball number 1. McDonald's already 1 for 1 today, including a walk. Had a RBI single back in the second inning to right field. Turner again deals. That one will be in there for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Again, McDonald played in all 53 games a season ago for the Cardinal. 52 starts, a batting average of .325, including 3 home runs and 29 runs batted in. That one will be in there for another called strike on the outer edge. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Of course, McDonald from Arlington, Texas. Scrappy type of player, Pac-12 team champion back in 2023. This kid slugged .411 with a .397 on-base percentage, drawing 23 walks, including stealing a team high of 12 stolen bases in 17 attempts. 2-2 on the way. Fouled Neres right behind the backstop into the crowd for a lucky souvenir for a lucky fan. 2 balls and 2 strikes with no outs here in the top of the third inning. Of course, McDonald, his father, played baseball at Hardin-Simmons University. Also, his brother plays at Princeton as well. So baseball runs within the family. 2-2. Lays down the first baseline and foul diving effort from Kushner, and it goes all the way into the Cardinal bullpen. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. See in left field, Shark kind of playing the flare a little bit. Moving in a little bit too is Eli Lopez over there in center field. Turner from the windup. 2-2 on the way. Carries that one, slashes foul and out of play. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Again, Turner is someone that could easily be in this starting rotation. Wasn't surprised if he was going to be in that 3 spot or 4 spot against Stanford, but again, with Blood having to leave early, Turner picks up his 3rd strikeout as McDonald's goes looking on strike on an outside pitch for the first out here in the top of the 3rd, and the first time into this one that any Cal State Fullerton pitcher gets the first batter out.
Yeah, that's important. It certainly goes without saying, and you have a chance to reestablish some control here. And Derek Turner racking up strikeouts like he did last year. It was 42 strikeouts in 36 innings.
Here comes once again Trevor Haskins, 6'1" senior out of San Jose, California. 1-for-1, single to left center field back in the first inning, hit by a pitch in the second inning. Again, a 2-time Pac-12 team champion, 22 and 23. Lifts that one in the air as Lada will call off Rosales. 2 up, 2 down to start things rolling for Derek Turner here at the top of the 3rd.
And sometimes it turns into your favor, certainly at the expense of a heavy cost against Jason Blood. But Stanford is coming into game 1 thinking blood. No pun intended, or pun intended, whatever. Yeah. But then you shake them up by putting Turner out there, and they're not ready for Turner. They didn't really know where he's gonna pitch this weekend. There's only so much preparation you could do. They prepared for Blood. And so you see a lot of the contact is much different against Turner than it was against Jason Blood.
1 ball, no strikes for Rentaro Sasaki, the first baseman. 1 for 2, grounded out, but including getting a run batted in back in the first inning. And a hard hit single to right field as well. 1 ball and 1 strike. Of course, Sasaki, the Baseball American preseason national Freshman of the Year, D1 Baseball preseason ACC Freshman of the Year as well. Of course, joined the Stanford baseball program in March of 2024, almost getting hit by a pitch on the fastball inner edge. Dusts him off the plate a little bit. 2 balls and 1 strike with 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd inning. Of course, everyone knows Sasaki for setting the Japanese high school record with 140 career home runs, breaking Shohei Ohtani's home run record. Yep, they went to the same high school as he lifted that baseball well out of play right behind the Titan dugout. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Of course, everyone's going to know his dad, right? Hiroshi, who's the head baseball coach at his high school, in which he has produced MLB stars such as, of course, mentioned earlier, Shohei Ohtani and Yusei Kikuchi, who's now with the Los Angeles Angels organization. So again, all eyes are on the freshman looking to make a name for himself. Deuces, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the top of the 3rd. Fastball inside, called strike 3. Down goes Rentaro Sasaki. A 1-2-3 inning for Derek Turner. As we head to the bottom of the 3rd, 8-0 Stanford lead. We'll be back right after this on ESPN Plus. Welcome back. He is Mike Martinez. My name is Robbie Loy. It's an honor and a privilege that you are spending your Saturday afternoon with us today. Game 1 of this doubleheader action on ESPN Plus. Bottom of the third inning we go. 8-0 the Stanford Cardinal. As it will be 8-9-1 due up in the Titan lineup. Carter Johnstone, Waldy Perez, and Eli Lopez will be due up. And we mentioned earlier with Mike, right? It's just setting the tone early. Cal State Fullerton down by 8. Now it just comes into fruition of, hey, what are we going to get to do really to just get any momentum started? That's all what's going to take from the left-handed hitter Carter Johnstone. Of course, for Carter Johnstone, 6'1" infielder, freshman out of Los Gatos High School. No balls and 1 strike for the left-handed hitter. Get to see what he's made up of, and this is what we like to see, right? You get freshmen early as he skies this one to left field. Marsh towards the line, reaching back, makes the snag for out number 1 here in the bottom of the third inning. Gives us a chance to see Waldy Perez. You know, we talked to Jason Dietrich and he said, you know, we're going to have a mix between Waldy Perez, likewise for Max Ortega. They're good on the offensive side. They're good defensively, especially with a doubleheader such as today. Wouldn't be surprised if we see Max Ortega behind the dish in game number 2. Likewise for seeing Waldy Perez maybe being in that DH slot when we get ready for game 2. 0-1 pitch in the dirt, 1 ball and 1 strike to Waldy Perez, 6'1" senior out of Florida, Puerto Rico. Played in 38 games a season ago with 34 starts during the 2024 season. As Perez lists this one to right center field, Bates calls off Reynolds, and he makes the grab in right center field for a quick 2 up and 2 down for Scott here in the bottom of the third.
I have to step in, Robbie, and make a correction on an error slash, well, some shows have their errors and omissions segment, and this would be an errors slash omissions segment. So I mentioned Steve Rodriguez coaching down at third for Stanford. That's the UCLA former catcher, Steve Rodriguez. Same name as the coach who had coached at Pepperdine and Baylor, and for a little while a hitting coach at Texas.
But it happens. What you going to do about it? Routine play at Haskins, throws on the run across the diamond to Sasaki in time. 1-2-3 inning. But yeah, well, it's baseball. What you going to do? You're going to have a lot of fun. Quick 1-2-3 inning for Scott. We head to the top of the 4th inning. 8-0 Stanford on top. We'll be back right after this on ESPN Plus. Welcome back. He is Michael Martinez. My name is Robbie Aloya. 8-0 Stanford lead here in the top of the 4th inning. Derek Turner back for another inning of work so far. 35 total pitches, 2 hits, 4 strikeouts. And Mike, you know, I mentioned it earlier, right? He needs strikeouts, get momentum going, and yeah, certainly proven that here today.
Derek Turner, he can tally up some strikeouts, and he has a good roll going here, where he has struck out 4 of his last 7 batters, and trying to get this game under control for Fullerton. And 8-0's a big deficit. Matt Scott's going really well right now on the Stanford side. But you have to establish for your whole season, we're a team that's going to get outs, because that's how you win baseball. It doesn't matter if it's 1974, 1994, 2004, or 2024. You have to get outs in the sport of baseball.
First pitch to Charlie Sohm. Missing outside, 1 ball, no strikes. So far for Turner, 8 batters faced, 4 strikeouts, including 2 base hits given up, 2 full innings of work so far. 1-0 pitch, looked good, a little tad high and inside. 2 balls and no strikes for the catcher. So far, 1 for 1. hit a double back in the first inning as that baseball was absolutely tattooed behind Eli Lopez over there at center. As this time he ropes this one down the right field line. That baseball is carrying and goes off the face of the wall. Rounding second, does he want 3? He's going to hold. And how about that? Stand-up double to start things rolling here for the Stanford Cardinal at the top of the 4th.
You know, it's not a great contact. It carries well because it's daytime conditions, and you know he did it okay, but it's down the line. I think Turner can bounce back from that. You know, that's one of the things you just cycle out. Say, okay, that guy won that time. Let's make a little adjustment here on pitch location, and let's get ready to attack this next guy because this guy is doing some damage right now. And Nati, with everything going on in front of him, guys getting on base. Nati has a double and a single. And he could be dangerous here for Stanford right in that 5 spot.
Bring up a good point. Of course, Nati carries over a 4-game hitting streak into this season. So now if you're carrying over, he's on a 5-game hitting streak. First pitch, sweet chin music doesn't dust Nati out of the batter's box. 1 ball and no strikes. Of course, 6'1", 210 pounds from Sydney, Australia. Of course, coming in as a junior, D1 baseball preseason top 50 third baseman, ranked at 26. As a shallow fly ball to center field will drop right in front of Eli Lopez for a base knock. As that'll advance some over to third base. Runners on the corners for the Cardinal with no one out here in the top of the 4th.
There's no warm-up phase out there for Eli Lopez. Every ball he's had has been a tricky one. It's either been, 20 yards to his right or left, or it's been over his head, and that one's a blooper kind of in the sun. No easy ones yet for Eli playing his first game in center.
And you bring a good point, right? Because that's what, Dietrich said was, we want a high-energy type guy. Your most athletic guy on the roster is going to be at center. There's been some injuries early on for this Cal State Fullerton roster. So he was like, you know what? We're going to see what we can do with Eli Lopez, but he's a guy that he will be successful at any position you put him in. They decide to put him in center. And you mentioned, right, he hasn't really had any opportunities yet because, the wind's been a little bit of a factor. I mean, this Stanford squad are hitting the ball hard early on into this one. So again, high energy guy that's willing to step up most certainly has been Eli Lopez, and we've seen that already today and throughout his collegiate career as a Cal State Fullerton Titan. So it's more so just Cal State Fullerton trying to get some runs early. Already 8 runs, 11 hits for the Stanford Cardinal. As for the Titans, they've gotten some men aboard, but still looking for their first base hit. Late afternoon matchup. There's a 1-1 to Reynolds, and it pokes right through the first baseman. Into the outfield it goes. 1 run scores, an RBI single for Brady Reynolds. His second run batted in of the evening. 9-0 Stanford lead here in the top of the 4th.
Stanford has had rallies basically 3 kinds of ways. They had 3 doubles in the first inning. They had a triple and a few singles and hit by pitches and walks in the second inning. And now you get, just quality hitting by 3 different guys. A double the other way by Som, a little bloop shot by Nati, and Reynolds pulling that fastball, chopping it through the hole.
First pitch to Timo Becerra is going to miss inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Of course, Derek Turner an inning ago had a 1-2-3 inning. And of course, that first batter, Court McDonald, striking out looking back in the 3rd. That was the first Stanford Cardinal out. So again, the leadoff batter, first time that the leadoff batter has gone out in this matchup. And then Turner gets back ready to go in the 4th inning, a double by Som. Nati with a single to center field and an RBI single as well from Reynolds to right field. Sarah 1 for 2, struck out swinging to Jason Blood back in the 1st inning, singled up the middle, also getting an RBI back in the 2nd as well. Hard hit right towards Lotta at short, throws it to Rosales over the first in time. 6-4-3 double play, and just like that, a quick 2 outs for Cal State Fullerton here on the top of the 4th. So again, a 6'4" double play. 2 quick outs. Nat Eyes, the runner on third, brings up Charlie Bates. We know the power that he has, already hitting a triple to left center field, lined out on a softly hit ball to Lott over there at short. And Tatum Marsh will be on deck. Walked in his first plate appearance, came around and scoring, and also struck out looking back in the second inning. 1-0 pitch in the dirt, blocked cleanly off of the chest protector of Waldy Perez. 2 balls and no strikes with a runner on third here on the top of the fourth inning. 9-0 lead. So a lot of time left to be played, but I had to check with Brian Freese earlier because, last doubleheader was last year, right, against Jacksonville, as Cal State Fullerton certainly went dolphin hunting, to say the least, with that doubleheader. And I know you, partner, had a lot of fun with that one.
Is that legal, Robbie?
No. I think so. Yeah, okay. Actually, I don't know. Do I want to know? Probably not, because I love dolphins too. But gotta say, Titans, they had a good run at least with that series. So to my point, rather, with a 2-1 pitch to Bates as he launches that baseball down the left field line, carries well over the new baseball locker rooms. Deuces, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. That there is a run roll with double hitters. It's 10 after 7. So, of course, you don't want that off. You're Cal State Fullerton. But, already 9 runs here. 9-0 in the fourth inning. So a lot of time left to be played, but that could come to a factor. And the only reason why that, plays the least and why I mention is the arms, right? Mike, you mentioned earlier the arms, trying to save them. We'll see if that will play a factor into this series. As Bates hits a routine fly ball to Chardon left. He makes the grab, and that will do it. But not until Stanford gets another ribby on the board, courtesy of Brian Reynolds with an RBI single to right field. 9-0 Stanford lead. We'll be back after this break from your local sponsor on ESPN+. Welcome back at a beautiful sunny side, Fullerton, California. Of course, we're at the home of Cal State Fullerton. Goodwin Field, beautiful day for baseball, but let's be honest, it's always a beautiful day for baseball, especially here at Goodwin Field. He's Michael Martinez. My name's Robbie Loya. Head to the bottom of the fourth inning. 9-0 Stanford lead. 9 runs on 12 hits, no errors. Cal State Fullerton, 2 runners got aboard. 1 via walk. Jacob Chardon, a fielder's choice by Andrew Kushner back in the second inning. But other than that, that's been it. It's been the Matt Scott Show here today for the Stanford Cardinal. Already 10 batters faced, giving up 1 walk, 3 strikeouts so far for the tall righty. At 36 total pitches so far into this one, gives an opportunity for Max Latta to do some damage. The shortstop 0 for 1. Fly out to Nadai at second base. Back in inning number 1. Of course, Latta, one of the most experienced guys in the starting 9 for this Cal State Fullerton offense. Played in 52 out of 54 games while starting all 52 of them during the 2024 campaign. Finished the year with batting average of .257, 183 at-bats, 29 runs, 31 RBIs during the season. And we were speaking about it earlier, so bring it up now. Recorded a career-high 5 RBIs against Jacksonville back on March 9th. Of course, may be familiar with his cousin Dylan Carlson, plays center field for the St. Louis Cardinals. No balls and 2 strikes for Maddox Latta here on the bottom of the fourth inning. Scott deals. It goes right past his glove, up the middle for a base hit. Maddox Latta brings up the first Titan of base knock. It comes in the bottom of the fourth, but you'll take it if you're Cal State Fullerton.
They certainly all count, as we saw Stanford, all the ways they can get hits. And a total bleeder, but hey, it's in a good spot, rolls right through, and you can't get the next until you get the first one.
Here comes the 5'9" sophomore out of South Hills High School, West Covina, California. Gonzalez, big hack. Missed that one a little bit underneath the barrel. No balls and a strike. Marcos Rosales played inserted in 19 games during last year's campaign before missing the remainder of the season due to an injury. But during his 19 games, had a very impressive batting average of .301. Slashes bunt, pulls back as some backs pick the runner on first as Sasaki lays down the tag on Lada, gets in there safely. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rosales 14 runs, 12 RBIs as well in 19 games. Of course, was a 4-year letter winner with the baseball program at South Hills High School in West Covina. Flare out to right field. Reynolds has to battle with the Sun, but Reynolds won. The Sun nothing with the first out here, the bottom of the 4th inning, as Lada retreats to first base. Brings up Jacob Sharp, the first Titan student athlete to get aboard at all, and that came back in the 2nd inning via walk. And Scott giving up his first base hit of the late afternoon to Maddox Lada with a single up the middle in this inning. Lada has a good lead at first, takes a delayed, or secondary rather, for the first base bag. No balls and a strike for the left-handed hitter. Max Ortega will be on deck. 0 for 1, struck out swinging back in the 2nd inning as well. Scott deals Sharp, trying to put that one in play. All the way towards the first base line in foul ground, and making the snag is Nadai. Last second calling out Sasaki, who had some trouble with the baseball as Nadai collides with the wall right near the Stanford dugout for out number 2.
Great overall play by Jimmy Nadai. David Esker said Rentaro Sasaki really has a great ability to not just be a one-dimensional player. He likes his athleticism, his ability to play first. That was a tough ball for a first baseman under almost any circumstances. And Sasaki had to go find where the wall was, and he kind of lost track of where the ball was, so it was up in the air a long time. And so Nadai really came from a long ways away to help him out late. So great quality play by the second baseman.
Just all about the range, and Nadai certainly found so. No balls and a strike now to Max Ortega.
When you get an out on the number 4 hitter, you take it any way you can get it.
In the dirt, 1 ball and 1 strike. Of course, for Matt Scott, Baseball America preseason All-America 2nd team. Also, in the D1 Baseball preseason top 150 starting pitchers, he ranks 22. He's certainly proven that here today. 1-1, well high cheese. Ortega doesn't chase. Brings count to 2 balls and 1 strike.
Matt Scott, the kind of pitcher that everyone wants to have on Friday night. In this case, game 1, Saturday afternoon. But every week he's going to give him a chance. He's going to give him a chance to be the best pitcher of the weekend, every weekend. And you're going to have some major guys in the ACC. They have major talent on those Friday nights. You're going to need Matt Scott to be at his best. But almost every week he's going to have a chance to do just that.
No doubt. And what I'm liking from him, too, and this is what I like to see from a pitcher, right? Swagger. How are you walking to that mound? You know, are you kind of walking maybe like you're not having confidence? He has what I like to call a bulldog mentality, right? He's there looking to compete. You know, obviously his best pitch is his fastball. He can overpower guys with that four-seamer, and he's not afraid to use it, which I like to see. You know, I'm sure everyone knows in his mentality, right? You know what pitch is coming. It's a fastball. I'm going to throw it. Let's see what you could do. He has that bulldog mentality, and that's what you like to see from your Friday night starter. Routine fly ball in the infield. Nadai calls off Becerra, makes the snag, and that will do it. 1 runner left on base over Maddox Lada, getting the only tying base hit through 4. We head to the top of the 5th inning. Michael Martinez will be back on play-by-play duties when we return on ESPN+.
Back here in Game 1 on ESPN Plus, the Stanford Cardinal, the Fullerton Titans. Game 2 coming up about 45 minutes after Game 1 is over. We do have a run rule in effect potentially. Stanford leading 9-0. They need a 10-run lead after 7 innings to enact the run rule. Same would go for this evening's game, but then Sunday and Monday would be just 9-inning regulation games. Stanford is going to play a lot of Monday games this year. Most of their midweeks are actually on Mondays, and they're all after home weekends. It's not like they'll be doing those cross-country flights coming back to play on a Monday. They're going to play all those Monday midweek games after a home weekend, and they only play, I think, 2 Tuesday games, which is a rare thing. Most of your midweeks are typically Tuesday or Wednesday, but in order to get a little bit more academics going and not have to break up the routine of having a game day on a Tuesday and maybe a bus trip or something like that to one of their Northern California opponents, those midweeks are going to be typically on Mondays, just a couple of Tuesdays for Stanford this year.
And, that's a big question mark for the Stanford Cardinal. I mean, we know this roster is talented, and set aside for the score for a minute. We knew coming in, we knew how talented the Stanford Cardinal was going to be with so many returners from last year's season, right? But again, transitioning from the Pac-12 now to the ACC, traveling is a huge factor, and a lot of people don't realize that, right? A lot of fatigue is going to come a factor. So this is going to be a true test for the Stanford Cardinal this season, and how are they able to kind of manage traveling a little bit further and coming back home. So, it's definitely this year with the Mondays, kind of being in the week or middle of the week rather now. At least that's a mentality that Stanford's going to go with. We'll see how that's just going to play a factor throughout the entirety of Stanford's season.
Tatum Marsh is leading off in the 5th for Stanford. They have a 9-run lead on 12 hits. They have 5 trips east in ACC play this year. None are back-to-back, so it's not like they could go and potentially stay a week through the week to then play their next ACC opponent. As Marsh lines up the 3-1, he goes the other way into right for his first college hit. And his dugout is excited on hit number 13 for Stanford today. In really stating the hard facts, or really what will be the hard truths, I think, in advance of what Stanford's going to go through this year. We already saw football, and we've seen basketball. It's kind of tough. Mick Cronin, has had his gripes. We saw how tough it was for the West teams to go east in Big Ten football. These teams coming west, it wasn't too bad, but it was still the wins-losses favored the home team in those cases. Certainly the West going east. For baseball, that is the toughest sport, more than football, more than basketball even, because baseball plays through Sunday. Basketball, football, you're typically done by Saturday night. You fly home, you sleep all day Sunday or whatever you can. Baseball is a Friday through Sunday sport, and so that's an extra day of playing potentially. That's an extra day of travel. Those are going to be tough trips. That's where it's really going to be a test to see how long this is manageable to have these cross-country conferences, these bi-coastal conferences. That will be the test for a sport like baseball. And to see if we ever go back to some of these other sports like baseball to be more regionalized for conferences.
And
1 ball and 2 strikes.
And too, a lot of people don't think of, you got to remember, right? Student-athlete aspect.
That's right.
Student.
Yeah, and Stanford is one of the places where that really matters. And that really has to take precedence.
Yeah, I mean,
2-2 on number 22, Court McDonald.
100%. So, that plays a factor too. Like especially when it comes to final exams. Sometimes, depending on the team's current situation, the coaching staffs may kind of change practices a little bit so students can fit in time to study and ace those exams. So a lot really play a big part in that.
Up the middle, nice snag by Rosales, but it came out of his glove. He even went to the bag thinking he had the baseball. Now he recovers and throws to third. Not in time there as Marsh takes third base. That's a really tough play for Marcos Rosales at second base. And then he ended up almost getting out at third, but not quite.
You know, if you're Maddox Lotta, great effort. You can't be disappointed in that. What a move. I didn't even think he had a chance on that baseball. But again, just a great defensive effort there from the middle infield just to get it done. And, you know, it's a tricky situation on that. But, I mean, you like the effort. You're just keeping the baseball in front of you.
McDonald ends up with his second hit today. He's been on base 3 out of 4 plate appearances. He's at first base. Marsh with good base running took third on the air by Rosales for dropping the baseball once he had it. It might be worth a second look. Tough play for sure. Into center. Lopez comes up, makes a knee-high catch, and that ends up saving a run. Off the bat of Haskins, and they've been tough plays all day for Eli Lopez in center, and that one he was able to run down.
And to your point, really quick, Mike, they did remove the error from Rosales.
Okay,
so
good.
No error, just the infield sing off of that.
Yep, and an advance and an advance.
Yes, but to your point with Lopez, great job, right? I mean, you have to have speed in center field to make that. That is no easy grab. And, I mean, right, even Marsh at third didn't think it was going to be playable for Lopez. And just like that, Cal State Fullerton, you save yourself a run.
Yeah, that's something with nobody behind you on the bases, or really, certainly not a force situation. There wasn't anybody at second. Marsh might want to think about tagging up there, right? On a ball hit to that area of the outfield. If it is a great catch, it's an easy tag up. If it drops in, you're going to stroll home probably regardless. Rotaro Sasaki now in a 1-1 count.
Yeah, you know, Marsh knows that, right? It's anything in the outfield you tag, but you kind of saw down the third base line, and he just did not think that Eli Lopez was going to make the grab. So Lopez just putting a statement for himself over there in the outfield.
Sasaki jammed, he pops it up. Way out there for Lotta in left field. And Lotta makes the catch, and Marsh cannot score. But Marsh was ready that time at third base, tagging up. So runner still at the corners now, 2 out. After his runners on the corners, no out. Charlie Som is the batter. Som with 2 doubles and also hit by a pitch. On base 3 times already. Stanford offensively trying to put Matt Scott in a position to go after a 7-inning complete game. Swing and a miss. Derek Turner solidifying things for Fullerton coming into this 5th inning. It was Blood 50 pitches as the Fullerton starter, Turner 51 pitches in relief, and Scott 50 pitches as the Stanford starter. Strike 2 on the inside, 0-2 on Charlie Som.
And you know, right, for Turner, that was like the mission. Come in here, down by a lot early, rather. Just get outs. Find yourself a way to get outs. Save that bullpen. You know, it's kind of desperation time. Already having to go to him right in the 2nd inning. He had no outs going into the 2nd inning. So again, it's just trying to save that bullpen, and he's done a really good job. 3 2/3 innings, only giving up 7 hits. 1 run though, and 4 strikeouts. This is what you like to see out of Turner here today.
the offensive attack for Stanford with 14 hits through less than 5 innings, reminiscent of what UC Irvine did here last year, where they peppered the ball around the diamond. 1-2. Slider didn't catch the plate. 2-2. And Stanford, a team with maybe a little bit more power than a UC Irvine. UC Irvine veterans up and down the lineup last year, and looks like they're off to a great start again this year. They had 10 runs less last night against Nebraska out in Arizona, and against New Mexico today. UC Irvine ended up with another big day. Still 2-2 after the foul. UC Irvine 18 runs today against New Mexico.
You know, this is what I love about the Big West, is that they're making a staple for themselves in the NCAA. And the reason why I point this out is I wouldn't be shocked if this year again there's going to be an at-large bid, especially with the tough competition you're seeing, such as UC Irvine and, of course, UC Santa Barbara as well. So again, with that, I just wouldn't be surprised if we see another at-large bid this season in the NCAA tournament.
Last year was UC Irvine and Santa Barbara going postseason out of the Big West. Full count, runner first goes, and it's ball 4 and an outside fastball. So Turner tried to get him to chase with some sliders towards the outside. Came back fastball in 3-2, but he didn't chase that one either. And Somm is on base for the 4th time today, 4th straight time for Charlie Somm, the catcher. Jimmy Nadai is up. There is some action in the Titan bullpen now with a lefty. Turner, they're hoping that he can go as far as he can go. Nadai with hard contact, just foul at third base. That's gonna roll around the corner area, so somebody's got to come out of the bullpen to get it.
And kind of what we were saying about earlier, right? Of course, you can't forget UC Santa Barbara got to host. They got to host Oregon, San Diego, and Fresno State. And then UC Irvine playing against Oregon State, Tulane as well.
One ball and one strike. One ball and 2 strikes. And we're seeing, again, comparisons between UC Irvine, who's a great offensive team that we saw last year. Stanford obviously blends in maybe the power of Santa Barbara with that plate discipline and the ability to go the other way like UC Irvine does. That was one thing that really stood out when UC Irvine was here, their ability to take balls and swing at strikes. 2-1 is popped up by Nadai, out to shallow center for Rosales. And he puts it away for the 3rd out of the inning. Stanford is stopped in the 5th inning as Derek Turner has gutted his way through 3+ innings. A total of 4 really. He came on in the 2nd and got all 3 outs there. Stanford still in command in the 5th. Michael Martinez and Robbie Loya back with you from Goodwin Field. 9-0 Stanford on top here in Game 1. We're getting ready for 4 games here in 3 days. Another game coming up tonight will be Game 2 of the series. Game 3 tomorrow at 1, and Game 4 Monday at 1. If you're coming to the Monday game, if you happen to be listening right now, and you're coming to the Monday game, Monday is not a holiday here on campus, even though it is a holiday for almost everybody across the country on Monday. The President's Day holiday here at Fullerton was taken on Friday, Valentine's Day, yesterday. So that's when parking would have been free. But Monday, if you're coming to the game, treat it like a normal weekday and pay for parking.
That reminds me, too. I appreciate that. I need to remember that next time I park.
Andrew Kirchner, first ball swinging. A kind of rare appearance on the defensive side for Rentaro Sasaki. That might be his first batted ball his way, and he takes care of it. 50 pitches through 4 innings for Matt Scott, and he gets a first pitch out in the 5th. Retiring the last 4. Bringing up Matthew Bardowell, who has a great taste in old school music. Matthew Bardowell. I think a couple of these guys, Bardowell and Rosales, they were geared up to hit early in their at-bats, and Matt Scott maybe surprised both of them with some early secondary pitches.
Yeah, and that's what you're going to expect. I mean, right, Rosales only played 19 games a season ago due to injury, so he's hungry to come back. And Bardowell's a guy that's just always hungry to, be better, right? And that's what I love about his mentality is that he always tries to make adjustments on the fly. So here's an example, right? He fouled behind the plate. You can kind of see a little bit. Kind of steps away from the batter's box. He's going to choke up, maybe crowd the plate a little bit more. You can tell he's on Scott here. So again, does a good job locating the outfield. See there's a big gap in left center field. So again, he's just very smart, and that's what you like to see out of a student athlete.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Bardowell grounded out to second his first time up. Now he's laying off that pitch. 2-2. So Irvine is now 2-0. Yesterday, their opponent was number 24, Nebraska. UC Santa Barbara took care of Campbell, the Fighting Camels from North Carolina, out of the Coastal Conference, the CAA. Campbell, the team that's playing out at Santa Barbara this weekend, a semi-regular in regionals the last 10 years, so that's a quality opponent for Santa Barbara to bring in, but a team they should be able to handle. Cal Poly went to UCLA this weekend, and UCLA won the first game 3-2 last night. Hot shot to third. Well played by Haskins because he bobbled it, had him going up his body, almost a tough situation where it potentially could have eaten him up, but he did a great job to stay with it. Trevor Haskins down at third base for Stanford.
Now, I know he didn't mean to do that on purpose, but the way he played that through, right, everything was just so fluid, right, how he just, a little mishap, ate him up, popped right out of his glove a little bit, sort of throw it on the run. And, believe it or not, baseball players, they practice those situations, right, is how can you recover from a little small mistake? Again, very fluid, made it look too easy in the hot corner.
Carter Johnstone with his second Titan at-bat, he flied to center his first time. One of quite a few Bay Area products for the Titans. He's from Los Gatos. He was born in Hungary and lived in Spain before coming back to the States. 2 balls and 1 strike. Two and 1 to Johnstone. And good contact there into right center. Potentially could be the Titans' first extra base hit today. Number 22 going for 2. And Carter Johnstone has the Titans' first double today. A 2-out, 2-bagger here in the bottom of the 5th.
That's what you want, right? We've been saying it all day long. The freshman stepping up big, and I know in a big one too, you're down by 9. I know it's just people may say it's a routine double. No, give the freshman some slack. Get him his first collegiate hit. This is what you like to see. Get those freshmen going, trying to make a statement. Why you need to start out of the gate. This is what you like to see. Now, see if Cal State Fullerton can continue the momentum going here in the bottom of the 5th.
1 of 3 lefties in the Titan lineup, so he gives Scott a different look. And able to get on the cutter and hit it into right center. Waldy Perez fouling off the first pitch. Waldy was a fly out in the 3rd. In back of Johnstone's fly to center. Waldy flied the same direction. Now trying to pick up Johnstone at second with 2 out. 93 from Scott. Way up high, 1-1. Matt Scott comes from the state of Texas. It's 66 miles-ish from the big city of New York. almost straight north from Reading, Connecticut. And Connecticut does produce a fair amount of baseball talent, major league and otherwise. Matt Scott's high school also produced Charlie Morton as Waldy gets into a 2-2 count. Uncle Charlie Morton. Mo Vaughn, back in the day, was from Connecticut. George Springer in more recent times, and Jeff Bagwell. A couple of Strohs, Morton and Springer on that list. Jeff Bagwell went to high school in Connecticut and went to the University of Hartford.
Interesting.
And George Springer prepped in Connecticut and also went to UConn. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Waldy Perez against Matt Scott. And Waldy is down on strikes. Only the 4th strikeout for Matt Scott, but it picks up his 5th zero of the afternoon. 9-0 Stanford after 5.
He's Michael Martinez. My name is Robbie Loy. We head to the top of the 6th inning. 9-0 in favor of the Stanford Cardinal. New pitcher on the rubber for the Cal State Fullerton Titans. He is number 33, Jaden Harper. Of course, a junior out of Fremont, California from Olone College, getting his first debut, bleeding the orange and blue. Again, a tall lefty, has some sizzle a little bit on that fastball, and that brings an end to Derek Turner's day, going 4 complete innings of work, 77 total pitches, 7 hits giving up, including 1 run, which was earned, including 4 strikeouts, facing 19 batters. And again, if you're this coaching staff, you got to give credit where credit is due to Derek Turner. Again, just trying to get a quality pitching performance after Jason Blood had to leave well early in inning number 2. Derek Turner was in a situation coming into the matchup with no outs in the 2nd inning. Now gives an opportunity for the tall lefty, Jaden Harper. The first pitch will be in there for a called strike. Of course, 2 years prior to being at Cal State Fullerton to Olone College, holds the record for most strikeouts per 9 innings, including helping lead the team to a conference championship back in 2023. 0-2 pitch, skied in the center field. Lopez has to range all the way back near the warning track, makes the grab in front of the Augie Garrido side for out number 1 here in the top of the 6th inning. Brings up Timo Becerra. For Becerra, 1 for 3, including an RBI, back in inning number 2 with a single that was absolutely tattooed behind Eli Lopez. First pitch in there for another strike. That's what you like to see from the lefty. Kind of for Harper, right? He's a guy that's known for throwing first pitch strikes. You see the confidence, quick tempo. 0-1 pitch, fastball missing outside. 1 ball and 1 strike to the shortstop. Of course, Becerra hit into a 6-4-3 double play back in inning number 4. Charlie Bates will be on deck. Next pitch will be fouled away on top of the batting cages. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 9 runs, 14 hits, no errors for the Stanford Cardinal. No runs, 2 hits, no errors for the Titans of Cal State Fullerton. 1-2 pitch, jams Becerra in the inner half as that goes flying near the Stanford Cardinal on deck circle. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Again, Chardon left, Lopez in center, Bardwell in right. High leg kick, Harper deals, off speed missing high. A little bit of a waste pitch, 2 balls and 2 strikes. In the infield from left to right, Johnstone, Lada, Rosales, and Kirshner. Perez behind the plate. More than likely we'll see Ortega behind the dish. Routine fly ball to left field. Sharp camping under it. Makes the grab. 2 up, 2 down. For the transfer himself. Gets it done once more for Jaden Harper. Here comes Charlie Bates. Hard hit triple to left center field back in the second inning. Lined out to Lada and then flew out to Sharp back in the 4th inning as well. 9 pitches for Harper, 10 coming up in the inning. It's a flare to left field, racing his way, making the grab is Sharp. And how about that? The lefty, the 6'1" lefty gets it done. A 1-2-3 inning for the Cal State Fullerton Titans. We head to the bottom of the 6th. Don't go anywhere as you're watching coverage of Big West Baseball on ESPN+. Head to the bottom of the 6th inning, 9-0 Stanford lead, and hey, guess who's back? Mike Martinez joining me for the half of this inning. He was busy a little bit signing autographs. Did you remember how many autographs you signed, Mike?
Oh yeah, you know, Robbie, I have to get the people what they want. It's part of the job. Kiss babies, shake hands.
You know, I'm conflicted. Do I want an autograph from you or from your son, who I always love to see at the ballpark? Hopefully we'll see him again this weekend.
Sunday he should be out, good weather. They'll come out and run the bases afterwards.
Love it. Can't wait. Speaking of can't wait, I'm sure we could say the same way for Matt Scott. He's certainly been dealing today, giving up 2 hits so far, 67 pitches, 4 strikeouts. Only a walk given up. 1, 2, and 3 will be due up for the Titan offense here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Lopez, Lada, and Rosales as the first pitch right up Broadway to Eli Lopez for called strike number 1. No balls and 1 strike. Again, when you talk about Matt Scott, we mentioned it earlier, ranked 22 when it comes to starting pitching. And are you surprised? Because I'm certainly not. Perfect game preseason in the top 100 juniors. He's ranking 23. And, you know, this is going to be a crucial year for Scott. And the reason why I say this, I mean, you take a look at what he did last year, right? 4 wins, 10 losses with a 5.96 ERA. Over 80 innings pitched at 103 strikeouts compared to giving up 36 walks. So you know you want to lower that ERA a tad. As the 1-2 pitch, look awfully close. Lopez will stay in the dish. 2 balls and 2 strikes. But he could be a true candidate when it comes to, of course, getting drafted. And I know that's the obvious. I know that's in his mind too. But certainly he's going to be a top prospect to look out for in the MLB. Lopez.
Does he have the pitch repertoire? How much more does he have to do from your vantage point? You know, he establishes the fastball pretty well. Doesn't have a real big curveball, but he kind of works off a cutter, a little bit of a slider, change up to lefties, and so big hitting righties.
You know, for me, I always look at that strikeout to walk ratio, and he certainly proved that. If he lowers his ERA, no doubt he's going to be a true threat in the pitching class possibly this year, as Lopez skies that one out to center field. An easy catch for Bates for the first out here in the bottom of the 6th inning, and that'll bring up Maddox Lada. Again, too, I mean, you look back at, you know, his resume, of course, 2022 prior to Stanford, right, a 2022 graduate of Joel Barlow High School in Reading, Connecticut, as he guided Joe Barlow to Class M state championship in 2022, and 22 was certainly a season that Scott's never going to forget. Connecticut Player of the Year, but also most notably the Gatorade Player of the Year as well. Was top-ranked player coming out of Connecticut according to Perfect Game, number 40 overall right-handed pitcher rather in the nation. 1-1 pitch, late hack from Latta into the middle of Sohm behind the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Also played for Team USA's collegiate national team. So again, for him, it's more so lower that ERA. He's going to be up there when it comes to the MLB draft. Of course, a 6'7" junior, throws back to right, 245 pounds. All muscle, let me tell you. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Latta.
They all want a 6'7" righty, don't they? Take it from either side, but if you get a guy who's 6'7", he gets major looks.
Of course, you know, what you like to from Scott, and this is kind of my question, is I'm sure he wants to be a starter, and he is certainly proving that today. He had 15 starts and 16 appearances, so, I mean, he only came in relief once, but depending on close situations, I wouldn't be surprised if you do see Scott coming into late situations, because that's just the pitcher he is, you know, with his fastball, high velo, coming out of that right arm. He locates his pitches really well. He can do it all. Again, I know his goal is a starting pitcher, and rightfully so. He has earned that right to have that starting, you know, slot. But again, in case Stanford later on goes to tight situation, close scoring games, I definitely could see him coming in later as well. There's no doubt in my mind. 3 balls, 2 strikes to the shortstop. No one on with 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Cal State Fullerton just trying to do all they can to get runners on. High chopper towards short, right through the middle of Becerra. They throw it on the hop as Latta shows off his speed, turns off the Jets. An infield single for the shortstop, his 2nd base hit of the evening. They have a runner on board with 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. Brings up Marcos Rosales. Base runners, base runners, base runners. That is it. And, you know, Mike, we've been seeing the crowd, you know, a little bit here and there, right? A few base hits, a couple of crucial strikeouts from Derek Turner, and you see the ovation, so it's there. Now you just need to get some runs aboard and really just get the fans off of their seats.
Yeah, you got to see some good contact this time around against Matt Scott. Time is running out. 3rd time around, potentially Stanford still has that 10th run out there. They'll be looking to get it in the 7th. And he's still keeping them off balance right now. You know, Rosales way out in front there.
Rosales,
that was in a hitter's count.
Rosales 0 for 2, struck out looking back in the 1st, flew out to Reynolds in right. Back in the 4th inning.
I think it's going to be a depth of a pitching staff that's really going to be tested for Stanford this year. You talked about the travel. You know, you don't want to burn out a guy like Matt Scott too early. They're going to probably kind of limit him here, 6th or 7th inning, even though there's not much trouble. The game is certainly in their favor. But they're going to probably be a little more conservative, knowing that it's a long season ahead of them. Got 5 East Coast trips.
As you say that, Ben Reimers is currently warming up in the Cardinal bullpen to our right-hand side. Reimers, a 6'3" sophomore out of Aliso Viejo, California. J. Sarah Catholic guy. Count now 3 balls and 2 strikes to Marcos Rosales with a runner on first. .81 total pitches for Matt Scott here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Given up 1 walk and 4 strikeouts. The righty gives a long look. Off-speed pitch, missing a tad high. As Rosales will get on for the first time today via a walk at the bottom of the 6th. That breaks up Jacob Shart to do some damage, possibly with the runner in scoring position. Time has been called, pitching visit, and I think this will give some time for Reimers to just warm up, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to keep Scott as long as possible. I mean, you get your exhibition games going in the fall, possibly some alumni games. Of course, you're having, friendly scrimmages within the team. So, more so, fatigue can certainly play a factor with Matt Scott now at 87 pitches.
Yeah, the Titans finally got his pitch count up a little bit, even though he doesn't have very many strikeouts. It's just 4 in the game. They have a lefty, one of the Titan better hitters here. And so they have to make sure they're good on the plan. It's not in position where it could get away from them, but they want to manage these situations regardless. Against one of the best hitters from the 2024 Titans. A guy who had a 10-game hit streak in May, right before the end of the season.
First pitch to the left-handed hitter will be in there for a called strike. 6'1" junior, played in 40 games with 31 starts a season ago. Led the team a .307 batting average. Scott checks Lada, runner on second. Looks again, deals home an off-speed pitch. A sharp whiffs off of that one. No balls and 2 strikes. Recording a career high 4 runs batted in against CSU. On April 6th of last year, finished the year 16 runs, 20 runs batted in. The 0-2 pitch, Jam Sharp goes off of his left foot. Right in front of Scott, gets a new Pearl rather. No balls and 2 strikes with Max Ortega will be due up next. Sharp 0 for 1, walked back in the second inning and flew out to Nadai at second. Ortega over 2, striking out in the second, flew out to Nadai as well, back in the fourth. Little bit breezy here later on in game number 1 of this doubleheader between Stanford and Cal State Fullerton. A waste pitch, high cheese. No whiff there by Sharp, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Of course, probables being a Grady facing off against a sophomore lefty, Christian Lim. As Sharp laces that baseball all the way to right field. They're waving around Lada. The throw will be cut off, and how about that? It's an RBI single for Jacob Sharp, and the first Titan run here in the bottom of the 6th.
Well, Thomas Seeger was out there, and they talked about the plan, and the plan was, I guess, especially after they got Sharp to an 0-2 count on a changeup, they kind of just came back with that pitch, and then he ended up lining one up. There was one just left right out over the middle of the plate, and Sharp just took it to right field. And that's going to be it for Matt Scott. They left him out there maybe to hold the shutout, but that's it. No reason to keep him out there. There's no no-hitter. There's no shutout. And they have a big lead, so they'll try to conserve some of his pitches at this part of the season. But good hitting by Jacob Sharp. Told you what he could do. Very consistent hitter down the back stretch of last season. The numbers show that he was the Titan best hitter overall for the year. And that's good to see him kind of line one up and kind of work his way through an at-bat after he had been 0-2.
Cal State Fullerton finally gets on the board courtesy of Jacob Sharp with an RBI single to right field. We're going to step aside, take a quick break. New pitcher, he is Ben Reimers. We'll speak more about the righty when we return on ESPN+. Ben Reimers takes over for Matt Scott after Jacob Sharp gets Cal State Fullerton on the board for the first time in the 2025 campaign. The hard hit to right field brings home Maddox Lada. Rosales is the runner on third. Jacob Sharp is the runner on first. Gives an opportunity for Max Ortega. 9-1 in favor of the Stanford Cardinal here in the bottom half of inning number 6. Scott's done after 5 1/3 innings of work. 92 total pitches, has given up 4 runs, one of which is earned. Has possibly that could go up to 2 runs, 2 of which being earned if Cal State Fullerton can find a way to get Ortega or rather Ortega or Shart to come in around that. He is responsible for both runners. 2 walks and 4 strikeouts as well, facing 22 batters. One out here with runners on the corners for Max Ortega. 0 for 2. First pitch. It's going to miss a little tad high. Ball number 1. Again for Ben Reimers as a freshman. Season ago made 22 appearances, compiling a 3-1 record over 33 2/3 innings of work. And he's already behind Ortega. 2 balls and no strikes. Of course, as a freshman, appearances were 4th most on the team. Struck out 30 hitters to average a little over 8 strikeouts per game. As he throws the second over the first in time. So that does it. How about that for the Stanford Cardinal? An easy double play, and that will do it. But the Titans, they get on the board. They get one back, all thanks to Jacob Shart. 9-1. We're going to step aside, take a quick break. Top of the 7th, we go on ESPN Plus. Welcome back. Here live on ESPN Plus. He is Michael Martinez. My name's Robbie Loya. Here in the top of inning number 7. And all I can say is, wow, right? Jaden Harper out of the gate, doing some damage, a tall lefty, as that will be outside for ball number 1. 1 ball and no strikes now for Jaden Harper. 10 pitches, a quick 1-2-3 inning, all of which were flyouts. Reynolds flew out to center field, but Sarah and Bates flying out to Shart over there in left field. Gives an opportunity for Tatum Marsh at the 9th spot today to do some damage. Had a single to right field back in the 5th inning. Also got a board via a walk back in the 2nd. And then struck out looking in the 2nd inning from Derek Turner. 2 balls and a strike for the lefty. He deals, and that baseball is roped, but fielded cleanly from Lada. And they actually fielded it cleanly, but had a difficult time getting the baseball out of the mitt. I believe that'll probably go down as a single, I would assume, already for Tatum Marsh, getting on for the 3rd time in the last 4 plate appearances here today.
Yeah, that's a tough play. That's a tough play for an infielder, and Maddox tries to get there and square up on it to give himself a great chance to throw, and then I think you had it right that the ball gets stuck in there. He maybe loses a little bit of footing. So I wouldn't be surprised to see if it's a hit.
I believe they're going to call it that indeed.
Or they said air.
They said air. Interesting. We'll see if they'll look at that maybe later.
Yeah, they have the 2 SIDs over there sitting together. Hopefully they can confer upon it.
No balls and a strike for Court McDonald as he ropes that baseball to right center field, as Bardwell will pick it up. Rounding second, heading for 3rd is Marsh. He'll be in there safely. Runners on the corners with no one out here in the top of the 7th inning for Harper.
Yeah, Court McDonald, he's a 3-hit guy today already. All singles. And a guy that is getting on 4 times in 5 plate appearances. That's the thing for a leadoff man.
Brings up Trevor Haskins. Has reached base twice out of his last 4 plate appearances. Also was hit by a pitch back in the 2nd inning, and also had a single towards left center field back in the 1st inning. His last plate appearance, however, flew out to Lopez over there in center field back in the 5th inning. That one will be downstairs. 1 ball and no strikes. So far for the Stanford Cardinal, it's certainly been a hitting parade here today. 9 runs, 15 hits, no errors. That one a miss down low, 2-0. 1 run on 4 hits, no errors for Cal State Fullerton, and more so just a tough situation, right? You give up 8 runs within the first 2 innings of this one. And, this is the obvious, right? It just, Cal State Fullerton just trying to find a way to grab momentum. And it certainly comes in a difficult time, especially being down 8-0 early on here in this one.
Yeah, they really had everybody up, kind of lathered up in the game off those first 2 innings as we get the walk to Haskins on base for his 3rd time. And they have, everybody in the lineup has at least 1 hit. 6 of the 9 have at least 1 run batted in. There's 4 walks. And they haven't paid the price. Only 5 strikeouts. They came and kind of established something early, like you said, with big spot in the first inning, bigger spot in the second. And, now you got this guy coming up.
Rentaro Sasaki, again, broke Shohei Ohtani's home run record in high school. A lefty-lefty matchup. Harper versus, of course, Rentaro Sasaki. First pitch to the left-handed hitter will be in there for a called strike. Bases are loaded. Marsh, the runner, at third. McDonald at second. Haskins at first. No one out here in the top half of inning number 7. The 0-1. In there, called strike. No balls and 2 strikes.
You saw where Wildy went out there right after the 4-pitch walk to the number 2 hitter and try to get him back on track because he just had the first contact against him by McDonald, and that went to the outfield. So Wildy knew he had to settle him down, and he has to stay on top of these pitches. Can't leave pitches up against Rentaro. And now we looks like we're going to get a balk and a run score.
You said it. Balk and a run scores. Marsh from third to home. McDonald, the runner, on second. Haskins, the runner, on second base. McDonald at third now. So again, McDonald at third, Haskins at second. And Jason Diedrich wants to check to see the balk. So I guess what happened, he tried to almost come to a set, but in reality, he was just trying to ask for time as he stepped off the rubber. So again, I guess that little jolt between Harper claims the balk, and it was called by the third base umpire. As Sasaki blasts that baseball to center field, 1 run scores. They're raving around Haskins. The throw is cut off. And how about that one? Rentaro Sasaki with a 2 RBI single to center field. The Stanford Cardinal now on top, 12-1 here in the top of the 7th inning.
It's taken them several innings now, but they do finally have their 10 or more run advantage, which would shorten this game. The previous pitch before the balk, Harper did a good job keeping his fastball belt high or lower, but then the slider gets out over the plate and doesn't do a whole lot, kind of sits right there. And Sasaki, not a full big home run swing, not an arboretum swing here from the left-hander's batter's box. He takes it right back up the middle and cashes in his 2 RBI. Very quality, very veteran type approach. We talked about his great experience and being coached by Shohei's dad, and his debut stateside is a 4 RBI day. And we have a pitching change. Sasaki's dad, Coach Shohei.
New pitcher for Cal State Fullerton will subside and take a quick break on ESPN+. 2-1 in favor of the Stanford Cardinal. Rentaro Sasaki with a 2 RBI single up the middle allows Jaden Harper to exit this one, and now it is Ryan Sayo, the 5'11 junior from Sacramento, California. Attended Sacramento City College for 2 years prior to transferring to Cal State Fullerton, as he makes his first appearance in a Titan uniform, with Sasaki being the runner on first base, as Rentaro Sasaki collects his 3rd RBI today.
Also has 2 base hits as well. As for Charlie Somm, has been getting aboard rather at every single plate appearance today. Has 2 doubles, 1 to center, 1 to right field. Hit by a pitch back in the 2nd inning, and he walked his last AB back in the 5th inning. As Sale's pitch will be in there for a called strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. 16 total hits for the Stanford Cardinal. 4 total hits for the Cal State Fullerton Titans to this one. So I'm trying to do some more damage in one. Why not? 1-1 pitch gets away from Sale a little bit. This is outside, 2 balls and a strike. So Turner did his job. And for Harper, again, he only had 10 pitches thrown in inning number 6. You go to the 7th inning, 13 pitches he only threw and giving up a couple of hits. Also kind of, it's just an unfortunate situation in, the 7th inning for Harper. You say that because they marked it as an error from Latta. That started off the inning. Next thing you know, McDonald got a hit. Haskins walked. Bases are loaded. And then a balk that scores in a run. And then Sasaki clears the bases. Somm goes down on strikes as Sayo, the first batter he sees, he ranks up a strikeout. Somm goes striking out, swinging for out number 1 here in the top half of inning number 7. Here comes Jimmy Nadai. Already today, 3 for 4, including 2 ribbies as well. Catch the run batted in his first and second plate appearance. 2 singles, a double, and he laces that baseball. That will drop for a base hit in front of Shard over there in left. So a single to left field for Nadai puts runners aboard on first and second with 1 out in the top of the 7th inning now for Brady Reynolds.
4-hit day for Nadai.
No doubt this Stanford squad is already playing like they're in mid-season form already. The hitting parade continues here in Goodwin Field. 17 hits and counting for the Cardinal. Reynolds flew out to center field in his last AB in the 6th inning. Next pitch from Sale gets away on a fastball outside. Reynolds doubled to left field, including getting a run batted in the 1st inning alone. Also collecting another ribby as well back in the 4th inning, hitting a single to right field. As he smashes this one, Bardwell has a step on it, but the ball's going to drop right in front of him for another base hit. Sasaki was a little bit late going to third base, thought it was possibly catchable for Bardwell. Instead, drops down rather for a base hit, and the bases will be loaded now for Timo Becerra.
A 3-hit day for the number 6 hitter. It's a hit parade, of course.
Bases are loaded once more for Timo Becerra. The 2nd time in this inning that the bases have been loaded for Stanford. Sale takes a look at Sasaki, the runner on third. A check swing from Becerra as the home plate umpire McKinley says that he went around on a swing. No balls and 1 strike for Timo Becerra.
Timo is the only guy the Titans have actually really had. He's 1 for 4 with an RBI. But they have him for a strikeout and a double play.
Another check swing. That one gets away from Sale once more. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Nadai's day, not quite a career high. He had 5 hits last year against Cal. Presumably in a 9-inning game. If he got up again, which doesn't look like he would, could tie that.
Yeah, we will confirm, but at least what we know as of now, 10 after 7. At least just for double headers. 2-1 for Becerra. Charlie Bates will be awaiting on deck for the Cardinal. Flew out to left field in his last plate appearance back in inning number 6. 3 balls and a strike. Certainly been all Stanford in game 1. But Cal State Fullerton certainly does have a chance to come and just regroup for game 2. as Becerra takes his base on ball 4. Almost looked like it hit him anyways. As the bases will continue to be loaded as Sasaki walks his way home. Now it's 13-1 for the Stanford Cardinal. Also, you reward Becerra with another RBI, his second of the day. Nadai, the runner at third. Reynolds, the runner on second. Becerra's the runner on first for Bates. First pitch awaits that one for a called strike on the outer edge. No balls on 1 strike for the left-handed hitter. That one's lifted high near the Titan dugout, and making the grab right underneath it will be Waldy Perez for out number 2. So a fly out to number 2. Anyone at home writing in your scorebooks? I certainly am. I miss it, right? Going back and just writing through everything in your scorebook. Sometimes I'd like to do that depending on the baseball game, whether it's Angel game, whether it's Dodger game or Padre game. Who knows? I like to have a little fun with it, right? Always have to. Sale gets 2 outs. And here comes Tatum Marsh, who we already saw in this inning alone. This is the second time that we've seen Stanford go through the entirety of the lineup. It was Charlie Bates that started off the inning back in inning number 2 at the 8th spot. Now this is Tatum Marsh who starts things off once more for the Stanford Cardinal, this time at the 9th spot. 1 ball and 1 strike for Marsh. This inning reached on an error from Maddox Lotta at short. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 out there in the top of the 7th. There's a pitch. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Marsh from San Jose, California. 6'1" freshman. Recent graduate of Valley Christian High School. Routine grounder, backhanded over there by Johnstone at third. Tags his base for the force out, and that will do it. But not until Stanford puts 4 more on the board. They lead this one 13-1. Head to the bottom half of inning number 7. We'll be back right after this on ESPN+.
Well, Robbie Loya got confirmation in the press box that the run rule is in effect. 13-1 lead for the Stanford Cardinal, and Ben Reimers can close down game 1 with 3 more outs. A 4-run Stanford 7th inning. They sent 10 to the plate. And that's after they had started the day with a 3-run first and a 5-run second on Jason Blood. Derek Turner settled things down for a little bit and took the Titans through the 5th. Jaden Harper had a solid 6th inning, but then ran into trouble in the 7th. Going to Harper's line, 1 inning because he didn't get an out in the 7th. Hurt by a leadoff error. Tough play for Lotta at short that started the inning. Harper, 23 pitches, 2 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned. 1 walk, didn't strike out anybody. Seo faced 6 batters, allowed 2 hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, and got all 3 outs. No runs charged to Seo. So the Titans down to their last 3 outs in game 1 with Andrew Kirchner, Matthew Bardowell, and Carter Johnstone due up. 13-1 Stanford. Memories flood back when we're here at Goodwin Field, and one of them was Stanford being here from 2 years ago when the Titans were ahead late, but Stanford came back with 8 in the 9th and 7 in the 10th. Or vice versa. It was either way. It was 15 runs over the last 2 frames for Stanford, and they beat the Titans 21-13 that day in 10 innings. Eventually, the teams met in the regionals. 2-0. Kirchner Pops up a fastball down the left field line for Marsh coming over and right on the line. They'll call it a catch in fair ground if you're scoring. Tatum Marsh puts away out number 1 in the Titans' 7th. Ben Reimers, as we see Marsh in left. Marsh will face, Reimers will face Matthew Bardwell, who has grounded out twice. Ben Reimers, the son of a former Stanford player from the mid-90s. Tom was his dad. His mom also was a collegiate athlete, a swimmer. Ben from J. Sarah Catholic High School. He has a Titan tie because Brett Kay's been a longtime coach down at J. Sarah. 0-1 to Matthew Bardwell. Bardwell has grounded out twice. The hits for the Titans, 4 sprinkled through the lineup with 2 infield hits from Maddox Latta. An RBI base hit by Jacob Shart and